Hi, this is our final prototype for our final presentation that we call as WAVE, due to the acronym Water Automation and Valve Emergency System. Okay, so here is a prototype that it represents a section of a water distribution system, specifically in our case, the Cuchamala system. Okay, so in our prototype is consists in an automized valve, in a buzzer, in two raindrop sensors, and in a flow sensor. Okay, so our prototype is divided in three phases also. From this part up to this part, it represents the primary network. It means that it represents the large pipelines that go through large avenues to distribute to several communities pipelines. From this section, from this valve to that other valve, it represents the secondary section. And this is the most important section of our project, since in this part is where most of the 40% of the water is lost due to leaks and due to an old infrastructure of the pipelines. And in this last section, we have a valve, a water valve, that is used in our houses, the valve that all houses have, and a flow sensor, yes. Okay, so the methodology or the process of how our project functions is simple. For example, in here we are going to put 100 milliliters of water, and we're going to send it from the primary network to the secondary network. Okay, so the water is going to pass over here, up to here. That this represents our main pipeline of the secondary network. And if we have, for example, two holes, that represents the leak. For example, if there is no leak, and if we put, for example, 100 milliliters in here, the flow sensor has to measure almost the same amount of water that the primary network sent to the secondary network. But what happens if there is a leak? So, for example, if we put again other 100 milliliters, and if there is a leak, the flow sensor is going to measure less than the 100 milliliters that we send from the primary network. Also, another thing is that if there is a leak, water is going to go out of the pipeline, and is going to go to this raindrop sensor. And when the raindrop sensor detects water, the automized valve is going to close the valve for the primary network to not send more water because of the leak. And also the buzzer is going to turn on. So basically, that's the methodology or the process for our project. And we're going to see an example in a few seconds. Okay, so now we're going to test our prototype. Unfortunately, I don't have the app because I don't have an Android, but I have the serial monitor in the app inventor. Okay, so basically I have here 100 milliliters, and for example, in here we have a hole that is going to be like the leak. Okay, so for example, in here we have in here we put the 100 milliliters, and our sensor detects the leak. And for the buzzer to stop, we have to press the button. Also, the automized valve closes, but we have to help him because it doesn't close by itself. And when we press the button, the buzzer stops and the valve goes to its place, as we can see right here. Okay, so for example, and for example, if we check the serial monitor, it tells us that the flow sensor detects 64.4 milliliters, and 25.6 milliliters were wasted in our leak. For example, we can see here the leak. And yes, that's the methodology of our project. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it.